Hey, it's Lisa Rigsby, and I'm so excited to share a love story with you today. I'm here with Christine Vick, and she is going to tell us about her love life and how she got there and what's going on with her and her man. Hey, Christine, it's so glad to see you. It's great to
I'm
be.
so happy to be here. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah. So Christine and I have known each other for a few years now, and she's actually studying to be an assistant coach of mine. So I'm super excited to have both roles with her, the love story role, and also she's going to be supporting me in the future. So you might get to know her more as we move along. So tell me how you met Trevor. Tell me a little bit about the beginning, the story. How did it come to be?
Well, I started feeling Trevor about 6 months before we met, and it started with a vision that I had of a man with wavy dark hair, and I could see two blonde children, and I could see hands in the dirt, and it felt really strong to me. And I had a sense I was going to meet him about 6 months later. But I think the important part for me in that it was that every time I felt him, I'd feel this like excitement, like, where is he? And then I'd go back to the feeling of safety. I kept bringing in the feeling of safety and connecting to the feeling of safety being something that I hadn't experienced much of in relationships before. And so fast forward 6 months later, we met each other on Match. So we met, and I didn't see his picture and immediately think like, that's him, that's the one. But there was something really kind in his face, and we started talking, and I really liked the person on the other end. He was very calm and well-mannered and kind and gentle and funny and smart. And so he lives in Vancouver and I live in Calgary, and we've been in a long distance relationship for almost 2 years now.
And how long after you met him on Match was it before you saw each other in person?
We met at the end of November, or on Match, and we met each other in person in January.
Okay. And that was a year ago?
So that was this January, it'll be 2 years. So a year and a half.
Year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was it like when you first saw him? Did it feel like, oh, that's the guy with the hands in the dirt, or was you not sure yet?
No, I was sure it was hands in the dirt guy before. He's an ecologist. He's tree planted all over BC. He does have two blonde children, and he lived in Vancouver, as I sensed. And when I saw him in person, it was just like he was super lit up. It was like he was electric to me. He was just really bright. He was brighter than anyone else in the room, and we were both really nervous and excited to see each other. But there was something really different in that meeting than other experiences I've had, which was a sense of calmness. There was like a kind of like understanding each other, homecoming kind of feeling that wasn't the racy thing I'd experienced before. Even though we were super excited, it was just, there was something calm underneath it that made me feel safe.
So yeah, tell us a little bit more about what your relationships were like before this one. What were your patterns? What were you seeing? You talked about the racy feeling. What else?
Yeah. I think that I was looking for an experience with someone that would, well, it was very external seeking. I wanted someone to make me feel a certain way. And I felt like that was the clue. Whereas I took quite a long time before I met Trevor to be on my own. I became really clear that anything I wanted in a partner, I had to cultivate in myself. That was the big difference. So before Trevor, I would definitely chase after men who were a little bit unavailable. And I did not understand that that was related to lack of self-love in me, that I was always seeking someone who would kind of prove to me that I was not lovable. And I didn't see that pattern. It was also very sex forward. Like there was a big, attraction forward, sexual energy forward. And with Trevor, we got to know each other over a long period of time, talking every night, really understanding and listening to each other. And that was a conscious decision that I wanted to cultivate in a relationship before I met him, but I didn't know it would manifest in a long distance relationship, which kind of has been perfect in that way.
And what do you love the most about being in a relationship with him? Like what feels really good to you in your heart?
Well, it feels good and sometimes it's hard, but I totally can't hide from this guy at all. Like, which in all the experiences before, I had this yearning to be seen and yearning to be known and heard, which ultimately I had to do for myself first. But it really shows up with him in a way, like, of course we all want to be seen being like compassionate and easygoing and lovely, but to be seen in like fears and vulnerabilities and the hard stuff sometimes is a gift in the long run, even though sometimes it's hard, because it's like, let's just not look at that. But he has a way of just sticking with me and having this like presence and non-budgingness around it until I kind of can open, and then it always feels so much better on the other side of it.
So it feels like he's holding a container for you to be able to express yourself.
Totally. And yeah, that's another part, is that I don't think I've, without a doubt, never been with someone who I trust as much. Like I've never felt that kind of container, and his desire to hold that container. Maybe partners in the past were mirroring some of my kind of loosey-goosiness around boundaries and containers and stuff. It used to make me feel like too restricted or something, even though I was longing for it too. And I've learned more about boundaries with him than anyone. And now I see boundaries as like these bodyguards in my life that I love and rely on, and they feel really, really good. So I feel a new understanding of boundaries within myself, and with the two of us together, it's the safety that I was seeking. I just didn't quite know it before.
And how do you feel? What do you feel like that's given you in that experience? Like what's shifted within you as a result of the boundaries and the container and him holding that space for you?
Oh, I think it's much easier to drop into what's authentic for me, and carving out a space that feels really true for me with him and in the world. It's, I think I went to a point where I didn't want to rely, I started to sort of do the work, and I thought, I don't want to rely on any man. I have everything I need inside me. But then I sort of moved towards something where there's this merge space between us, that I still rely on myself and he relies on himself, but to feel that safety and holding between us is really sacred. So I see the sacredness in it in a way I never have before.
Beautiful. And how about your kids? You have 2 kids, he has 2 kids, and how do you feel about how he is with your girls? And
he's lovely with my girls. He's very outdoorsy and sporty, and my girls and I are artistic and sensitive and a little more introverted and quiet, and his kids are like him and a lot, really into sports. And at first I had all those little voices, like all the little reasons why maybe it wouldn't work out. Maybe, well, I don't mountain bike and I don't ski, so you're not going to love me. And he's like, I don't care about that stuff at all. The fact that we communicate and we connect the way we do means everything. I mean, how many times did I want to hear that from a man? And I had this perception that he had to have some yoga bun and had lived in India. It's not the case at all. So yeah, I'd say merging families is not easy. I mean, there's not just two people, there's 6 people who are all sort of trying to find their way together. And he's very sensitive to that. And he's also got a very strong vision for us that it will work and that it'll take time and that, you know, with patience and understanding, we will get there. And I really appreciate his strength and his vision in that way, because I can get a little worried, like, what if they don't like each other and how's it going to go? But every time we've all hung out together, you know, there's always this sort of nervous, awkward stuff at the beginning, and by the end, everyone's laughing and being goofy. So we're getting there. It's a process, but we're working together on it.
Nice. Mm-hmm. And what do you think led to you making the changes to be able to call him in? Like, what were the major shifts that you saw in yourself and your process between being with the unavailable man and having that, you know, chemistry be the primary force and having your insecurities really leading the show to now being in this relationship?
Well, yeah, I mean, I had this, I think like a lot of people, I had this total heartbreak breakdown that you completely helped me with and supported me through massively. And it was a huge gift because it made me see how much my fears were leading and my sort of fantasy about what a relationship could be. And that was I really felt like I kind of hit a rock bottom with that whenever that was 4 years ago or whatever. And it was the beginning of me really, really taking care of myself, like really starting to understand that, you know, if I want a man to be romantic or loving with me, that, you know, I needed to do that first. Even simple stuff like putting lotion on and being kind to myself and really saying the words I would love to hear a lover saying, or being patient with myself when I'm scared, or giving all of that to myself first. I'm not saying I do it all perfectly yet, but I know that was probably the main thing that I feel brought Trevor in. And we worked through those things together. I mean, coming from marriages and being in our mid-40s, there's fears and baggage and things that we can work through individually, but it just, in a partnership, it shows up so much stronger and brighter and more vibrant. And our fears kind of dovetailed each other, so that the things I was afraid of happening in a relationship were, you know, the perfect mirror and match to what his were, of course, which at first made me think, maybe this is too hard. But I knew that, you know, working through that fear was the passageway to love. And it's gotten easier and easier and easier, so that, you know, at first, you know, the first couple months were super blissful, and then all the shit hit the fan, and it was like, you know, really hard for a couple months, even though we adored each other. You know, there was this bond between us that, even though at times we thought maybe this isn't going to work, there was just this thing that kept us there, and we just kept working at it and really addressing our own fears. And now when something comes up, it's just gotten more and more subtle. So now the other one will say, you know, what are you afraid of right now? What's the fear that's coming up? Which is a huge gift. And I'm so grateful that we just keep sticking with it, because the majority of the time, like almost always, we're just happy with each other and enjoying each other. And when something big comes up, it's like, all right, here's the turbulence, and we work through it together and we come out. So I've learned a huge amount about myself with him, and vice versa, I think, for him as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And what's the plan moving forward?
Well, my girls are going into grades 7 and 10, and his are going into grades 8 and 11. So for now, we're giving it another year doing the long distance. And the idea is that I'll be moving to Vancouver. We'll be moving to Vancouver next summer.
Awesome. So exciting.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share with people watching around?
That I love you and adore you. And I it wasn't for you. That's the truth. Like, you were my angel helping me through things to the point I'm at now. And I'm very, very grateful that I don't know how we met, but I'm so grateful for it. Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure to support you. You did the work. You're the one that,
Wow.
you dove in. You really dove in, and here you are. I'm
Yeah,
so happy to see you happy. Oh my God.
Me too.
Think about where you were when we first met, and now it's
beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I've come from feeling lost and scared and really codependent to much less afraid and trusting and dropping in, and the importance of connecting to spirit and our internal knowing has made all the difference in the world. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time, hon. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed Christine's love story. And again, you'll be seeing more of her in the future as we move into things ahead. All right. Bye for now.